Hi, this is Professor Alvarez, and I'm here to give you a quick overview of my online college algebra course. So here's an example of what the homepage looks like. There's usually a list of items to do in the to-do list here on the right. And then if you scroll down, just a snapshot of any upcoming deadlines that you have. But really, the majority of the course is going to happen in the modules. So if I click over here where it says modules, this is where all of the course content can be found. And so what's important is that you go through each of these lesson pages and mark them as done in order to access each of the following assignments. So here for Unit 1, I'll start with the module overview, kind of gives me a breakdown of all the expectations for that module. I'll mark it as done here at the bottom, and that will allow me to go on to the first lesson page. Now, for each of the lesson pages, you're going to find some notes. So if you're the kind of person who likes to learn by writing, you can download the blank outline and then hand copy the completed version of the notes. There also will be supplementary videos to give more examples of the information that's in the lesson. And so once you finish that, you'll mark that as done, and that will open the next assignment. So if I go back to the modules just to show you what happened here with the Unit 1 modules, I unlocked Lesson 1.1, the homework is now open, and I can move on to Lesson 1.2 if I want to. All of the homework is going to be on Pearson's Math Lab. So the first time that you're signing in, you click on the Access Pearson link here on the left. When you click on that link for the first time, it will ask you to open Pearson. And that's where you can sign in to an existing Pearson account if you have it, or create a brand new Pearson account. And you only have to do this the first time. Once you do this the first time, then each of your assignment links, going back to the modules, each of the assignment links will then take you to that page in MathLab. I also wanted to go ahead and give you an example of what this MathLab homework would look like. So you'll have your assignments, and then you click on each problem, and it'll have all the questions here listed on the left. And I think the most useful piece of information is knowing how to use these resources here at the bottom. I think the view an example is quite helpful. It'll show you a similar problem, kind of give you steps on how to solve it. Also, where it says get more help, you can view a link to the textbook where you can read through the lesson, or you can click on Ask My Instructor. It'll send me a copy of the problem, and I can kind of see what issues you might be having with that. So again, the MathLab homework, my biggest piece of advice is to use this as really a learning tool. This is where you get to practice solving the problems. And again, reach out if you have any questions. Another place you can find answers to some of these questions is going to be in the discussion board. So let me show you that. So here back at the modules page, I can go back into the lesson. And at the bottom of each lesson is a link to the homework and the discussion board. Or I can click here on the left where it says discussions, and that will also lead me to the discussion boards. And this is where you can check and see for extra examples from the homework. So if a student has asked me a question, or if I feel like people are having some issues with some of the problems, then I will post some examples here on how you can solve that. So again, the order in which you should be doing things is you go to the modules first, work through the notes, look at the lessons and the videos, practice the problems on the homework, and then come to the discussions if you need any further assistance. And that's really just the rundown on how you should expect to do the work for this class. Make sure you pay attention to the announcements that I send out at the beginning of each week and try to stay on top of your schedule. You don't want to wait until the last day when something is due. So for example, if you're given an entire week to do a couple lessons, you want to start on those early and make sure you get those done before the due date. And as always, if you have any questions, please email me and reach out. And I look forward to working with you this semester. Thanks so much.